Since I knew I was going to need some Artemia, a couple of days ago I got some started. They're pretty easy to hatch. All you need to do is mix up some salt water, throw in some of these brine shrimp cysts, let it sit for a couple of days, and kinda like magic, they all start appearing. The newly hatched brine shrimp are attracted to light, and so this little hatchery makes it super easy to exploit that and collect them easily. And not a minute too soon, because the first larva is starting to show some serious interest. But they're not so easy to catch. Fish fry food was a little bit easier. Catching living food requires fast reflexes and learning exactly how to chase them down. And when all seems lost, our little larva finally gets its meal. Each one of these naupli is packed with nutrients, just perfect for the developing larva. It's a great sign that the larva is now eating live food, and the adult frogs lay another batch of eggs. I keep the eggs and the various different sized larvae separate because they each have different requirements, and most importantly, they can eat each other. I keep the dishes floating in the main pond because it keeps the temperature stable and it makes changing the water all the easier. And with about 40 tadpoles from batches 2 and 3 already swimming the surface, I need to be able to change that water several times a day. These 3-day-old tadpoles are almost jet black. This is typical for the first larva at the same age. The black gives way to a more coppery, tan, iridescent color as the tadpole ages. All the tadpoles propel themselves with a super rapid beating of the very tip of their tail. I'm giving powdered fish fry food to all of the larvae, regardless of age, because it's very nutritious. But for the big larvae, there's no question, Artemia are number one. It's absolutely fascinating to watch the larvae develop their skills at hunting down the Artemia naupli. With practice comes precision. And meanwhile, the eggs from batch number 4 are already starting to develop. In a matter of just a few hours, the eggs darken as the cells divide and differentiate. And after a few more hours overnight, the little spheres are replaced with little larvae. And even though it might not seem like much, in just a few hours, these larvae have already developed all the basic beginnings of all the structures they will have into their adult life. There's the brain, the spinal cord, all of the organs, and even little eyes are visible. Caring for these larvae requires careful observation and just watching to see what things work and what things don't. At this point, the first larva is eating tons of Artemia, and the 5-day-old ones are starting to eat some of this powdered fish fry food. The first larvae started eating brine shrimp at the age of 8 days, but I started thinking, maybe if I tried offering the brine shrimp earlier, they'd take them. The naupli sure seemed pretty large for the larvae, but I threw some in and just watched. And just like that, they started feeding. I can't believe that even after 5 days of life, these are already aggressive predators. With such high quality food, the larvae are sure to grow fast. I always keep them separated because the adult frogs are always lurking. Now, since fungus seems to be a continuing problem with the eggs, I decided to take all of the plastic plants and go ahead and sterilize everything. All I did was take some simple bleach, mixed up a weak solution in some water, let it sit for a few hours, and then I rinsed everything completely. And just to be sure, I let everything sit out in the air so that chlorine would completely evaporate. Now, I hadn't planned on this, but by day 11, there was no denying. I was a frog daddy. Every couple of days, it seems, there's a new batch of eggs, new larvae are hatching, and new tadpoles are starting to feed. Even the fungus problem is starting to improve. All of the larvae of all ages are feeding extremely well. Batches 2 and 3 scarf down the Artemia as soon as they come by. I still give them some powdered fish fry, just to give them a little vitamins. And the very first larva, at the ripe old age of 11 days, is now named Geronimo.